The southwestern coast of India that runs parallel to the Western Ghats mountain range houses numerous sacred groves, locally known as kavus in Malayalam language. One such sacred grove that lies to the northwestern part of the Purlimala hills is Pungot situated near the bustling town of Mattanur. This kavu is spread across 32 acres. The journey to Pungot Sacred Grove starts from Koladi New LP School. Pungot is the largest kavu in Kannur district and the second largest in the Malabar region and among the top 5 kavus in Kerala state itself. To reach the sacred grove, one has to travel through the paddy field that now lies uncultivated. On the sides of the path itself, several native species of trees such as Hopia parviflora, locally known as Urupu, a hardwood tree species that was much exploited by the British and used extensively for making railway sleepers, can be seen. Some other species include Cinnamomum malabatrum, that is a close relative of the cinnamon, the Ceylon cinnamon that is used in spices, can also be seen on the side of this spot. This sacred grove consists of flora similar to that of an evergreen forest seen in the Western Ghats. Looking to the side of this spot, one can see the Malabar cinnamon, the Cinnamomum malabatrum. Its leaves are used for covering some dishes, for adding spiciness and flavor to it. Hiking the trail gets to the boundary of the sacred grove. This green net marks the northern boundary of the sacred grove, adjacent to the fields. This sacred grove is part of a vested forest under the government. Looking to the boundary itself, one can see the dense undergrowth typical of an evergreen forest. The short trail finally leads to the entrance of the sacred grove. This sacred grove comes under the jurisdiction of the Mattanur municipality and is managed by the Parishi Ecotourism and Rural Development Society. Pungot Sacred Grove, which has not found a place in the tourism map of Kannur district, is perhaps the closest one to the Kannur International Airport, with the airport being just 9 kilometers away from this forested area. This forest has the potential to become a future tourist destination. It's just mind-blowing to imagine that this sacred grove, which is situated less than a dozen kilometers away from the third or fourth largest city in Kannur district, that is Mattanur, houses 40 species of trees. The sacred groves of the Malabar region are representative of an ancient form of nature worship that predates modern Hinduism. The origins of sacred groves such as these can be traced back to the days when humans started settled agriculture. Start of agriculture meant that some forest areas had to be diverted for agricultural purposes. But the locals never forgot the importance of forests, being the home of animals that they hunted in the past, as well as the fruits that they collected. For them it was also the abode of their forest gods. As such, it was always seen that there should be a limit to the expansion of agriculture, and the centers of biodiversity around each village were preserved as sacred groves. These sacred groves performed vital functions for the village. They were storehouses of medicinal plants which were in much need at that time, and they were also the originating points of streams that fed the paddy fields in the villages, and the only source of water for the villagers during the harsh times of the dry season. Sacred groves, just like forests, are not just a collection of trees. Pungot Sacred Grove consists of several species of shrubs and climbers as well as herbs. One study has found out that Pungot contains 20 species of climbers, 16 species of shrubs, as well as 21 species of herbs, which is testament to its medicinal value. Up to this point, we have traveled through a part of the sacred grove where A mix of forests as well as coconut trees were seen. This vantage point gives you a view of the massive trees in the forests. From here starts the journey to the valley. It's a small descent to the center of the sacred grove. The impressive thing about this sacred grove is that one cannot see even a single alien species. Lantana camara and Chromalena odorata, locally known as Arippu and Communist Pacha in Malayalam, which are extensively seen across the plains, cannot be found in this forest. With the forest department spending millions of rupees to eliminate such invasive species out of protected areas like wildlife sanctuaries and national parks, the absence of such invasive species in these sacred groves is just a miracle. Tall trees such as these provide a support for climbers which are hundreds of years old. The trail thus finally leads to the stream, which can be seen on the right side of the path. From here, a unique landscape known as Myristica swamps starts. This tree, the one that is surrounded, has the particular stilt roots that provide support to large trees. Once this tree becomes large, these roots will still be like this, and it provides support to the large trees in sandy soils and soft soils. It also helps the tree to support itself during its years of growth. This small stream originates within this sacred grove. It gets water from this mere 32 acres of forest, and it is perennial. Even during the peak of the dry season during May, this stream still has water, which is a true blessing to this forest and the nearby villages. This stream may have fed the paddy fields surrounding this sacred grove, which unfortunately are now uncultivated. These waters are home to several native species of frogs and fishes. Nearby is seen the Ayyappan cow, dedicated to Lord Ayyappa, who is seen as the protector of the forests. On the side of this slow-moving stream, one can see the particularly crescent-shaped roots. These roots, known as knee roots, help the plants to get oxygen in the waterlogged conditions of these swampy areas. These roots can also be seen in the case of mangroves in the coastal areas. They are a unique adaptation in such conditions. These terracotta structures are reminiscent of an ancient period when people offered these terracotta structures to the gods and goddesses in order to protect themselves from the wild animals and also their crops. They can be seen in other sacred groves of the Malabar region as well. This waterlogged area is exactly how a Myristica swamp will look like. In these waterlogged conditions, these crescent-shaped roots help the plants to get oxygen, and the stilt roots provide support to them in the soft soil. Myristica swamps are said to be the oldest form of flowering plants, the ecosystem in which they survive, and the oldest forest in the Western Ghats itself. Zooming on to this tree shows a camouflaged tree gecko. These geckos, unlike household geckos, are active in the day. This is another example of the Myristica swamp with waterlogged conditions and knee roots. Myristicas are actually a family of trees such as the nutmeg. The nutmeg tree, which is native to the Indonesian islands, is used as spice in foods like biryani. These trees are also in the family of nutmeg. They are usually called as wild nutmeg in English. There are several such species, Some of them include Myristica bedomi, Myristica malabarica, Gymnacrandra canarica, and Nemma attenuata. These species are rarely known to the locals, and even in Kerala itself, the original nutmeg tree that is native to Indonesia is widely cultivated for its use as spice in different foods. This steep slope within the sacred grove contains numerous roots such as these that lock in the soil and prevent it from erosion. These roots are a perfect example of natural slope stabilization. They come from these large trees, which may be even centuries old, and they lock in the soil, and during the heavy rains they are prevented from reaching the valley. These roots can even be annoying to walk. There are so many of them. These trees are also those in the Myristica family, such as Nemma attenuata. They are in plenty in this region, in this slope. There are also several species of climbers. Large climbers climbing onto big trees are a common sight in these slopes. This is yet another big climber. Here we notice something that looks like a cave or the den of animals like wild boar. This slope is characteristic of an evergreen forest. Here you can get a view of the valley bottom, the Myristica swamp, the waterlogged areas, and the new roots. Here you can see large evergreen trees. This one may be a Hopia parviflora, the hardwood tree that was widely exploited by the British for making railway lines and railway sleepers. This is yet another huge tree in the forest. All these trees are evergreen trees, and deciduous trees are very rare in this forest. Each of these trees reaches more than 30 to 40 meters high. This looks like yet another den of the wild boar. Zooming in, you can notice the open space within the den or the cave. A massive root system can be seen adjacent to the cave. This is yet another huge cave within the sacred grove. This has an even wider opening and may go deeper to the soil. This slope, as said before, contains so many huge trees. This is yet another Hopia parviflora, I think. It also reaches to the skies, and its huge branches can be seen from the bottom. This Myristica species of tree has a climber that is climbing onto it. This may even be decades old. Its particularly beautifully shaped branches can be seen. This may be the Nemma attenuata. This also has so many branches clustered together, forming a beautiful pattern. All these trees show that so little sunlight reaches the forest floor. Suddenly we notice a woodpecker pecking on an old tree that looks like a Dead tree. The massive roots of trees like this also provide a support to the stream bank. They prevent the banks from collapsing. The undergrowth in this region is also full of the seedlings of evergreen trees. Zooming in reveals how far the roots of the trees protect the banks of the stream. These roots are seen all over the sides of the stream. Unfortunately, so many waves are seen gathered onto these roots. The waves from nearby towns are likely reaching the sacred grove. This tree has half of it lost in some storm or maybe cut down, but it still grows to considerable height. Kannur district is said to consist of so many sacred groves, but most of them are currently a few acres to less than an acre in extent. This is the largest sacred grove in Kannur. This unique sacred grove in Kannur is worth preserving in considering its immense biodiversity and its huge contributions to the nearby villages. It functions as a big carbon sink due to the presence of the Myristica swamp. Thanks for watching.